Welcome to the Captain Kangaroo Show. I am Bill Tibbetts, the Dean of College of Business and Technology at North Central University here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today's guest is a guru in studying economics. When he's not traveling around looking at gas prices, he's pondering the joke that I told him 2 weeks ago. Welcome, Professor Shawn Sauve. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Is it normal to block diagram jokes, or does that mean that you're a little bit kind of intellectual, maybe? So, yeah, I'm still figuring out.
It's very smart. You are an incredibly smart man. So it's okay that it takes 2 weeks to get the joke. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about all things COVID and the economy. That's a big deal. A lot of people are asking these questions. What's next? What does this mean for the future of business? And that's why we have Shawn Sauve with us today. So Shawn, my very first question for you is this. In the current pandemic, you have talked about the potential role of government correcting market failures. We've seen it before. What do you mean by that? And what do you think is the role of the government in this space and time?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I use the term market failure in relationship to this, sometimes people misunderstand because there's multiple ways we can use that term. I'm talking really about, I'll throw out some terms, negative externalities. Sometimes we as individuals or businesses, companies can, based on our behavior, put costs on others that we don't bear ourselves. It's a market failure. In this case, a market failure or a potential market failure is that we as people might want to socialize too much and hang out with people too much. Our desire to socialize is natural, but at this time, socializing too much can enforce costs in terms of the spread of disease on others. So when you look at kind of the shelter in place type of orders, to me, that's a natural, at least one of the potential responses to a market failure. In this case, so we like hanging out with each other. People tend to like hanging out with each other. That has in turn, though, then created another sort of market failure in the sense that businesses are shut down and such. Supply chains are damaged for even businesses that are still operating and such. And so the question becomes, what is the government's response to that? And so you see the CARES Act and other attempts to try to stabilize the economy. The challenge that I see in that is that you say 2.2 trillion, that's a lot of money. But actually in total, the government spending this year with the CARES Act and not accounting for maybe future additional spending, we're going to spend more as a percentage of our GDP this year than we did at the heights of the Great Depression, just to give an idea of the scope of government involvement in the economy at this time. It's very large. The challenge, so 2.2 trillion is a CARES Act. That's an attempt to respond to bolster the economy. And I think to some degree, I think definitely we need some of that response just to shore up businesses, not just to provide money into the economy, but to keep businesses alive. Because businesses, I think, can survive for weeks, healthy businesses. But when we talk about months, as we're starting to stretch into, that's when we see business failure. So solvency is one of my concerns. But our economy, in 2019, the U.S. economy was about $21.5 trillion. Fully 2/3 of that is goods and services, the stuff that we buy, sell, us working, and such. So we're shutting down, about $1.4 trillion a month. If we shut everything down, we're not shutting all of that down, but economists have estimated, some major economists have estimated that with our shutdowns, we're shutting down between, say, on the low end, I've seen 300 billion. I think that seems low to me. On the high end, $1 billion per month of lost economic activity. The government, at least in responding through both the Congress and the president and the Federal Reserve, is attempting to at least staunch some of the bleeding from the shutdowns.
That's really, really interesting. I want to move over to unemployment. With the number of unemployment claims reaching, I believe, about 17 million over the past few weeks, What's your perception on the outlook of jobs?
It's well, and I don't want to downplay 17 million. That's real people, real jobs, real families. It's an impact, and honestly, I have kind of a hedge on the response. I think I put it in a little bit of context because I think sometimes people don't understand how dynamic the U.S. job market is. Any given month, even February. So the most recent full month of data that we have prior to states issuing shelter in order. So it's kind of February is our last normal month from an employment perspective. In February, 5.6 million people lost their jobs, either left or lost their jobs, but a little more than, roughly about half of those 5.6 million were laid off, somehow their job ended. So in a healthy month, we lost 5.6 million jobs, but we also added 5.9. So a lot of times you see, well, the U.S. economy added 300,000 jobs in February and go, oh, that's cool, 300,000 new jobs. Realize that's net. We added 5.9 million and we shed 5.6. So in an average month, we're shedding, say 5-6 million jobs. And I think sometimes people don't realize that there's that much play. And at the end of February, employers were looking to add, or they had open positions that they hadn't filled of almost 7 million jobs. Now, clearly those 7 million jobs are off the table right now. But it tells you that when we open up the floodgates, when businesses are able to get back to work, many of the job losses were furloughs, meaning the employers were intending to, our goal is to hire them back. The challenge is I don't see that happening real fast. So even say in businesses that are in fairly healthy industries, how quickly do we respond back? I don't see them bringing 100% of the furloughed workers back immediately. And in some industries like hotels, airlines, events and things, I don't see people changing some of their travel patterns, even for business or pleasure, leisure, vacations and stuff, significantly in honestly the next 12 to 18 months. So some industries are going to continue to be challenged by this over the next 12 to 18 months. But I do see once we're able to allow business to kind of reopen, that we'll see some of those furloughed workers return. But again, I think it's helpful to realize that when the economy is healthy, it's a fairly vibrant job market where we're adding and removing jobs, and there's open jobs and such. I'd like to get to a place where businesses can actually open and look for workers and bring on some of their furloughed workers again.
Fantastic. It's good. It's brilliant answer. Now, looking at both the medical health issues raised by the pandemic and just the economic challenges that have been introduced by even governmental responses, what role do you think companies and individual workers have in meeting these challenges? Is there something that we should be doing to rise up to these challenges?
Yeah, well, here's the good news, and we've seen some bright spots even in recent weeks. We've seen companies really in the U.S. and around the world rising to the challenge. We've seen drug companies come up and aggressively try new treatments, new protocols. We've seen companies like GM and Honeywell and other companies around the country, even clothing, textile manufacturers, switch over their production from producing kind of the regular product to producing face masks and things. And so we've seen a fairly robust response even to the current medical crisis that is likely to help provide potential vaccines, treatments, safety, products and things that'll allow us to kind of get back to work more safely than we had in the past. But again, the government is spending right now under the CARES Act $2.2 trillion. The best answer from an economic perspective to get people back to work and get the American economy going again is to actually businesses themselves are going to provide kind of our way out of here. The government cannot spend enough money to create a robust economy. And so businesses getting back to, so we've seen, I'm just looking at my sheet here. We've seen Apple, Facebook, Tesla, Goldman Sachs donating, millions of medical equipment and things. If you look at even at past recessions, past kind of economic challenges, and what our way out have been really creative companies. Your Apples, your Googles, your Teslas. I mean, it's just, I don't know what the next company is. So for a business owner, I'd say continue to look for ways to add value and productivity in the economy. If you're a worker, maybe it is starting a new business. Well, it sounds crazy right now. Start a new business, but there are needs that continue to be met. Part of what has made the U.S. economy so strong in recent decades, or even the last 150 years, is that we've tended to have a culture where people worked and then, all week, and then on the weekend or kind of their time off, they spent a couple of hours thinking about how can I do what I'm doing better. And so we've had these productivities, improvements and things. So even coming out of a challenging economic time, there's opportunities for great economic growth. And that economic growth isn't just to kind of pad your financial wallet, but it impacts real people's lives. One of the challenges right now with the economic shutdown is you have depression and anxiety, financial challenges, kind of wreaking havoc on families. You have higher incidence of alcohol, opiate abuse, and such. So the work we do, the types of products and services that companies provide really does serve the larger kind of society. So I see huge benefits to us getting back to work. We're kind of at that, we're at that challenge right now where we want to resolve the medical issues, and businesses and companies and individuals are helping us do that, but we want to get back to work. In Europe, just yesterday and today, we see news reports, Germany and other countries are slowly moving back to work. And I think in some of those examples, we see maybe a pattern or a model that we can learn from as in the US and each of our individual states to get people and businesses back to work.
Fantastic. Yeah, as a private citizen, I'm helping out by just buying new windows for my entire house. We used a small business to do it. So thank you for the stimulus check, government.
There we go.
All right. Viewers, I told you, he's a genius. He's incredibly smart. And we want to thank you, Shawn Sauve, for sharing your wisdom and your thoughts with us. And catch us again. We have another video coming up in the near future. And we'll share our thoughts on business and current challenges. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.